So I invite you guys to be open-minded. Like I was in a really tough place and I needed to understand what the options were. And so I went to some really special doctors, and I was taking supplements for almost 20 years, taking 30 to 40 supplements a day, but I still did not feel well and I still wasn't cured. So I was on the lookout for good information that's out there on anti-aging, frankly, because I was aging faster. And I think most people don't really understand that our bodies are totally being hijacked by the environment. The environment is causing most of the diseases and cancers and diabetes and all of these other chronic conditions that are happening much faster in our society today are caused from environmental assault between bad air, bad food, electromagnetic frequencies, radiation from everywhere. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. And we're also pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical agents cause more damage, and supposedly the #1 disease is mismanagement of drugs. And nobody wants to talk about that, but it's the drugs combined together that are wreaking havoc on people's health. And these are outdated solutions, and it doesn't seem like there's a solution in sight from Western medicine right now. And all of these things, you guys, are causing something called oxidative stress through causing free radical damage. And free radicals are just loose electrons in our cells, just caused from breathing in air and just being a mammal. And all of this is getting worse because there's more pollution in the air. And also, we're not sleeping as much. We have a lot more stress in our lives than we used to. And also the UV radiation has gotten a lot worse. So it's breaking down our DNA and damaging everything. And the whole blueprint of our bodies and our DNA is being damaged. So the difference between activation and supplementation is going to be help for you to understand by looking at this little pyramid. So most people understand antioxidants through supplements and foods. They're at the bottom of this pyramid. They're called secondary antioxidants. And those are the glutathiones that you can take intravenous, CoQ10, carotenoids, vitamin E, vitamin C, the flavonoids, the polyphenols, the pomegranates, and things like that, and minerals and proteins. They're all really, really important, but those are antioxidants that you're going to consume into your body, or you're going to put intravenously into your body. And then there are primary antioxidants, and those are the ones that your body makes. And when you're younger, your body makes these primary antioxidants all day long, which is why you heal so fast. There are 3 major enzymes that are antioxidants: are SOD, catalase, and glutathione. Those are phase 2 detoxification enzymes. Those are the most important enzymes in the body to activate in order to do the detoxification of the cells and to regenerate the cells. And unfortunately, as we get older, our body isn't producing those as much. It's just what happens. Because now with more oxidative stress and environmental toxins, it's even harder for our body to respond to those enzymes. And here's what we've been doing and what we've been taught. This is the old science, is that you should just take antioxidants and that's going to do the cleanup of the free radicals. And it is not powerful enough through antioxidant supplementation. If you ingest an antioxidant, 1 molecule of that is going to neutralize 1 free radical. You have 300 sextillion free radicals. That's a 3 with 23 zeros a day in your body. And 1-to-1, you can't eat enough antioxidants. It's impossible. This is very old news, you guys, and we're still using the same technology that we've been using going back to when bodybuilders introduced supplements. These weren't even done and created for anti-aging purposes. So this does little to help mutations of the DNA in the cells. So what the new information with activation is looking at your DNA and your genetic code and looking at how that can be upregulated to turn back on those primary antioxidants, the SOD, the glutathione, and the catalase. Those have the ability to neutralize 1 million free radicals to 1 antioxidant molecule that your body makes that's activated from switching on certain genetic switches. And this is through something called epigenetics. So this is the new direction, you guys. This is the answer, is activation. It's not supplementation. And you're not going to be hearing this from your doctors. You're not seeing it on TV. You're not seeing it on commercials. You are starting to see a little bit of information from the supplement industry, and certainly from the company that we're representing. And that is where most of the money right now is being spent through companies like Google and some other genetic-based companies, looking at how can we change the expression of the genes to turn back on those very youthful enzymes that are naturally occurring in the body. They want to be turned on. It's just that pathways get broken down because cellular communication isn't working properly because of all the gunk inside your cells. So this is the biggest economic trend in world history. And we know we're in the right place at the right time when this is Google's #1 investment, is ways to extend life by looking at activating cellular pathways to turn down the antioxidant, the inflammation in the body. So this is just a chart that shows a little bit about how this works. So if you look at your DNA, it's inside the nucleus of the cell. That's where all this information is coded. And things can activate the DNA. If you eat cheeseburgers all day long, that's gonna upregulate and transcribe a certain code that's gonna cause inflammation in the body. So what we're looking for is looking at plants and dietary components that can upregulate the DNA enzymes like when you were a child, and that is going to be through these transcriptional proteins that are activated through certain substances. And these, in the case that we're dealing with, are all natural substances that are going to activate proteins that are responsible for turning on these anti-aging enzymes in the body to make more strong muscles, activate hormone balance, and these enzymes that are anti-aging enzymes. This is huge, you guys. So really what's happening in the area of science is looking at something called the theory of aging, looking at the future on longevity. How can we continue to evolve as humans and use the science and technology to mitigate diseases in the body? So there's 3 theories of aging. The first is the free radical and oxidative stress theory of aging. That is the one that we talked about earlier, where you're looking at the free radical damage that is causing mutations to the DNA in the cells, causing something called cellular senescence, which is where the cells start to die, and then you can't get rid of all this basically cellular buildup of guck. This is not good for the body, and so we need to get rid of that leftover dead stuff. Cellular senescence. The next is mitochondrial biogenesis and repair. That's looking at the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the energy powerhouses inside of your cells. And those are responsible for creating 80% of the energy to your body. Most of those mitochondria are inside the brain and in the heart, which is why a lot of people, as they get older, they get very, very tired. And at the end of the day, they're kind of burned out. That is where your mitochondria, those little energy powerhouses, are not creating enough energy to keep your body in motion, and your brain, which is why people get really, really tired. So we want to focus on how can we upregulate the mitochondria and turn those little engines into Ferraris, okay, that are like when you're 20 years old and you want to drive a Porsche. That's what you want mitochondria to look like inside your cells. And then activating something called sirtuins. Sirtuins, you should look this up. It's so exciting because they're activated through the upregulation of something called NAD, which your body produces naturally. And there are some new areas of science that are looking at how can we upregulate NAD in the body, because when those sirtuins are turned on, those are referred to as longevity genes. Those are responsible for mitigating and slowing down aging inside the body, like every aspect of aging inside the body, and even keeping the telomeres, the tips of your DNA, from shortening. This is huge, and this is really, really important information to be talking with you about today. All this is done through changing the expression of genes, your genetic code, through epigenetic changes of activation of the epigenetic pathways to turn up and down the heat inside the bodies. And the first pathway is NRF2. NRF2 activation is the single master regulator of the antioxidant pathway that turns on SOD, glutathione, and catalase. That is the most important thing that you can do, is activate that pathway. As you get older, it's like a spigot that just closes and closes and closes. You want to turn that spigot back on, full blast. and has been known today with all the research as potentially the most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of medicine by Washington State University. There's over, I think, maybe 20,000 studies right now on NRF2 activation and how to upregulate that protein NRF2. And so when you look at a cell, and I am not a biologist and I'm not a doctor, I'm a person who studied this stuff because this information has completely transformed my health because I'm now activating instead of supplementing. And I'm not taking 30 to 40 supplements a day anymore. I'm taking a lot less. So this is the cell. And then inside the cell is the DNA, you guys. And that's where the code comes in, just like a computer code. And what you do to upregulate that code is really, really important. And guess what? All this environmental assault is changing that code and ruining the code and messing it up, which is why we have so many diseases. So inside of here, you guys, we have mitochondrial DNA transcription as well. So those little powerhouses inside your cell, those also have the ability to upregulate proteins. And that's called an NRF1 protein to upregulate the mitochondria to make more mitochondria. So you have more Ferraris inside your cells. And so this stuff is being researched and studied and funded by huge companies, mostly pharmaceutical companies, that are looking for ways to be able to turn up and down these codes for healing diseases. When you see on this side, this left side, Amgen, Reata, Biogen, Abbott Labs, these are some of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. They're developing drugs to turn on that NRF2 protein because they know it represents a new tool that it's a breakthrough, and it's going to change the way that people mitigate diseases in the future. But if we can turn this pathway on naturally, this is what we want to do. The pharmaceutical companies aren't going to use natural compounds because they can't patent those, and they can't make the money they can by unless they are recreating and synthetic variations of these things. So this is where I'm involved in a company called LifeVantage. They have the #1 leading NRF2 activation product on the market, and it's all natural. And the purpose of that product is to turn on NRF2, get those enzymes activated to reduce free radicals at a rate of 1 million per second every second. And this is where the science is going in products, is activation of those proteins. And LifeVantage has been doing it since 2003. And they started out selling their flagship NRF2 activation product, Protandim, in 10,000 pharmacies starting in 2004. In 2005, they were in 10,000 pharmacies all across the United States. And their sales were very flat because nobody knew what NRF2 activation was, and nobody understood what oxidative stress was. And the ingredients in this product are natural plant ingredients. Back in 2005, nobody even had heard of this stuff, you guys, unless they were already some hippie from California. So it's an interesting company. I'm just going to throw it out there. We are publicly traded. Amazing story. We've been through a lot to get to where we are today, pioneering NRF2 activation and upregulating the genes to reduce oxidative stress, an average of 40% in 30 days. This is what I want to educate you guys on. You can't do oxidative stress reduction like this in any other product. This is the only product in the world today that has human clinical trials to prove that they reduce oxidative stress by 1 tablet a day of a raw plant-based ingredient. Right here, this is our bottle. So this is really exciting. We've also been able to have patents granted, which I was very impressed with, because the product worked so well that it changed the outcome and reduced a number of inflammatory markers, and they were able to get patents on this. So we have patents now even in China. It's very interesting. So again, reducing oxidative stress, you guys, it's the root cause of every disease. It's literally connected to over 200 diseases that nobody wants to have anything to do with. So these are the ingredients, all natural, raw, never heated, compressed into 1 tablet. And you take 1 tablet a day. This product is $40.99 wholesale, and you will buy that from a distributor. It's not sold in stores anymore. They took it out of the stores and went into person-to-person marketing. So this is now today, these ingredients become very popular. These ingredients people are already using, and actually doctors are recommending turmeric. They're recommending people drink green tea and take milk thistle. These are amazing, but you have to look at the science of how these are put together, because When you start playing with plants, they're very powerful phytonutrients. When you combine these together, they become 1,800% more powerful than individually at upregulating the pathway to turn on SOD, glutathione, and catalase. And that is what we have to have turned on to neutralize 1 million free radicals per second every second. So when you see these individual compounds, you can't take this individually. I was taking 4 out of 5 of these already, and they were recommended to me from Canyon Ranch, where I used to go and pay $25,000 a year out of pocket to get executive fitness summaries done of my body because I was so worried that I was going to fall apart. These are some of the research institutions and universities that have been so curious about Protandim Nrf2 and studying the Nrf2 pathway that they've included us in their research. And so if you want to just look them up, they're huge. I mean, these are the biggest institutions in the world spending their own money to do research on a product that they don't even make any money on. There's also the free website from NIH called pubmed.gov. And I do encourage you guys to go there and look up oxidative stress and see if there's anything there connected to diseases that you might be concerned about. Look up Nrf2, look up Protandim, and you'll see over 200,000 studies. This is what the pages look like. The Protandim actually has 26 peer-reviewed published studies, and there's over 200,000 studies now on oxidative stress. So this is a very exciting website, and you can also look, this is just one of the studies that showed the actual gene activation of taking Protandim 1 time a day, and looking at the different genes that are activated and different pathways when you take that product, and looking at genes associated 19 with atherosclerosis, which is heart disease, colon carcinoma, 28 genes are downregulated that might otherwise have been upregulated in oxidative stress. And then there's Alzheimer's, there's 66 genes that are downregulated from Protandim. Now we cannot make any claims that Protandim treats, cures, heals, or mitigates any disease. But I want those 66 Alzheimer's genes turned down. I can tell you that right now. Alzheimer's disease is an epidemic, and it takes 15 years for even to see the first sign of dementia in a human being. So you guys, we can't mess around with this stuff. If you're feeling great today, that there's something going on in your body, there always is. It takes 15 years before you even notice that anything is wrong. So you've got to be aggressive about this. So the company, did further research, and they decided to focus on that second pathway of mitochondrial biogenesis. And they introduced an NRF1 activator. This is going to upregulate the body's ability to make more mitochondria and make something called ATP, which is the energy, adenosine triphosphate. That's the energy that's produced inside the mitochondria to run your cell. Cognitive improvement, better sleep, the ability to work out harder, the ability to have a more stable mood, the ability to have clear thinking and be able to concentrate. Absolutely amazing. And also, we can't talk about diseases, but wow, is this really good for anyone who has elevated glucose levels. And again, natural ingredients that are combined synergistically to repair and regenerate mitochondria and give you those little Ferraris. And so I'm telling you, when you combine this with the Nrf2 activation, the combination of reducing oxidative stress and increasing cellular energy, you have a 1-2 punch that is just a total game changer in health. So we have so many issues around mitochondrial dysfunction and diseases today that people never used to experience, and particularly children, things like autism and leaky gut syndrome. So many issues that children are experiencing, and the cause is from mitochondrial dysfunction. And so if we can help our families with this information, we can change people's lives forever and really get that mitochondria turned back on again the way it's supposed to be. Now, this is the most exciting thing that I can share with you guys today. And this activation of the NAD within the body, not synthetically activating it like the biggest competitor that came out of MIT has created a product that we actually have studied, and we've compared our product to theirs, that activates NAD naturally inside the body to increase sirtuin activity. To increase the longevity gene, activity is upregulated 100%. within 24 hours of taking 2 NAD pills. And again, supporting healthier longevity, supporting autophagy. That is what I talked about, where those dead cells get stuck in there. We've got to be able to get rid of that, or this creates a lot of chronic illnesses. This is the removal of cellular waste. This is a huge deal. This is why in all the research that they're looking at sirtuin upregulation, being able to regulate autophagy. That's a big deal for extending life in mammals. So we don't have other ways to get rid of this stuff, you guys. We have to be activating these pathways. Otherwise, it's just getting stuck there. Mental focus and concentration, mood is improving, reducing inflammation in the body, maintaining healthy cholesterol levels, which is something that a lot of people are really concerned about. And many people are taking statins to control their cholesterol. They can be using these types of products to get that under control and get off of those statins. Again, we cannot make medical claims, and I'm not suggesting that anybody just goes off their blood pressure or their cholesterol medications, but I am suggesting that you start using these products and see what happens, supporting a healthy vascular system. And again, all natural ingredients that are going to upregulate these sirtuins that decline by 60% as we get older. And one way that a lot of people are upregulating these, and you've heard about a lot of this through intermittent fasting, is by restricting calorie intake. And it has to be a drastic reduction in calories in order for the sirtuins to upregulate. And we've seen this 50% reduction down to about 700 calories a day, gets it about 94%. But who wants to starve themselves to death and as a man that should weigh 180, eating 700 calories a day, you're probably going to end up being about 130 pounds. So we have shown now in our clinical studies that Protandim NAD upregulates sirtuin and NAD activity by 100% in 24 hours. And the competitor is 2%. So we have a story, you guys. This is a total game changer in the market. And we are using this as a natural activator instead of putting in a synthetic version of NAD, which is what our competitor is doing, which is why it only increases sirtuins by 2%, where your body making NAD naturally through the product that we've developed is going to completely change everything. So now we have this trifecta. We have this tri-synergizer of these 3 products together, the NRF2 pathway, the NRF1 pathway, and the NAD molecule pathway. We are changing human health. There's no other company in the world that has this product line that can show the results that we have. And look, again, natural ingredients, wasabi, which a lot of you guys use in Japanese restaurants, olive leaf extract. This is a really interesting newly used antioxidant that, when combined with these other ingredients, upregulates NAD and sirtuins by 100% within 24 hours. Cuprous niacin, and then theacrine, which is a kucha tea out of China. It's not caffeine, but it does have a little bit of a caffeine-like experience. So I always recommend for people to start with 1 a day. It's not caffeine at all, and it's not any kind of artificial stimulation, but you do get a little bit of energy from this. Again, similar to the NRF1, all about improving concentration, like getting your brain turned on, literally like when you were 18 years old and you were studying for an exam. You could study all night and pull an all-nighter. This is how your brain starts functioning again. And I kid you not, I just sent an email to some friends. I feel like I'm in my 20s, like everything about myself right now, and my husband feels the same way. We literally feel like we're in our 20s, and we're not in our 20s. We are excited about this and sharing this with as many people as possible, because we have something now that will absolutely give results that people are going to notice. And I suggest that people use these 3 products together. It's $125.99. It's a little more than $4 a day, which is like, I can't even believe it's that inexpensive to use this line. And at least 90 days before you decide if this is for you or not. If you have any issues, the person that invited you can answer your questions. There are no contraindications with other medications. This is all very, very safe. Do not have to worry about it. And if you want to go to your doctor and talk about it, you can get information to bring. But I will say to you, the doctors aren't going to know anything about NAD. They're not going to understand anything about sirtuins, and they barely even understand oxidative stress because they didn't learn anything about it in medical school. So I just wanted to tell you guys that it's just so exciting to be with you guys today. And whoever invited you to watch this, get back to them, get involved in this, and get on board with activating your body versus supplementation. Have a great day.